Last time, I built a fully functional floating house completely from scratch. It floats on water with no problems and can easily support several people, but that was only the beginning. In this part, I'm going to fully furnish the house with everything essential, test it in real conditions, and find out whether I can survive in it for 24 hours. But I had no idea that during the night, something would happen in this house that would make me regret this idea. When we arrived at the floating house to spend 24 hours in it, we were almost speechless. Some vandals had found our build and completely trashed it, leaving all kinds of marks across the terrace. The barrels that kept the house afloat had been stolen, and the ratchet straps holding them in place were cut. For some reason, they even stole the glass from the windows and apparently tried to rip the door out too, because some parts of the walls had pulled away from the frame. What we saw was really disappointing, and we honestly started questioning whether it was even worth continuing the floating house project after this. But in the end, we decided not to give up, to restore it, furnish it, and just like we promised, spend 24 hours on the water with some fishing. First, we need to make the house float again. This time, instead of barrels, we brought jerry cans. The entire car was completely packed with them. We unload everything. There ended up being a huge pile of cans. In theory, they should keep the house afloat even better than the barrels, and now we'll explain why. The jerry cans have a rectangular shape, meaning their contact area with the water is much larger than that of round barrels, which should make the house more stable. But before attaching the cans to the platform, just like with the barrels, we need to do a few things first. We unscrew every single can. Then we soak some cloths with anti-silicone cleaner and thoroughly degrease the neck of each jerry can. The caps also need to be cleaned from any possible grease marks. Once everything is degreased, we apply waterproof sealant to the caps and immediately screw them back on. Thanks to this, water won't get inside the cans and the house will stay afloat. Next, these jerry cans need to be attached to the house platform. First, we lift the house by hand and place wooden stumps under two corners so a small gap forms underneath. Into this gap, we slide a thick wooden beam and use it as a lever to carefully flip the house onto its side. This time, we're not going to secure the cans the same way we did before. Instead, we'll use this adhesive. To help this super strong glue bond even better with the wood, we sand down the areas of the jerry cans that will be glued to the platform using a power sander. With the electric tool, we managed to process a whole pile of cans in about 10 minutes. After sanding, deep scratches formed on the surface, which will help the glue bond much better. We apply 5 dots of adhesive to the sanded side and then press the jerry can against the platform. It's much faster and more convenient to apply glue to several cans first and then attach them one by one to the platform. We place the cans exactly where the barrels used to be. After the glue hardened, we took expanding foam and, using a nozzle tube, filled all the gaps. Also spraying foam between the cans to bind them together into one solid structure. After some time, both the glue and the foam fully dried, firmly securing the jerry cans to the platform. But we decided to play it safe and grab these wide straps. We place one against the edge of the platform and secure it using a mounting plate and screws. Then we tighten the strap so it presses the cans firmly in place and lock it like that. We secure the rest of the cans the same way. Now nothing will fall off either while floating or when pushing the house along the shore toward the water. We can flip it back over now. This amount of jerry cans can handle significantly more weight than the barrels, which means the house will be even more stable. Next, we installed new windows. Removed the door and nailed the detached wall panels back in place. after which we put the door back where it belonged. The floating house has now been restored to the same condition it was in before, and the floating platform actually became slightly upgraded during the restoration process, which is really satisfying. Now it's finally time to start furnishing the floating house. First, we need to make a sleeping area. We don't want to clutter the house with large beds, so I bought this folding cot. It fits perfectly size-wise. I placed it against the wall. Besides being compact and lightweight, the bed also turned out to be surprisingly comfortable. Now there's a place in the house where we can lie down and admire the lake through the window. It also works perfectly as a bench. As for the rest of the furniture, we're going to build it ourselves. We lay several boards side by side, then place 2 thin beams on top and use a drill to fasten everything together into one solid panel. Right now, we're making a table, but not just an ordinary table, a foldable one, so we attach door hinges to one edge of the panel. Next, we install the table next to the window. Now we need a way to lock the tabletop in position. Slightly above it, we screw in 2 pieces of rope with knots tied at the ends, and we screw small hooks into the tabletop itself. Once the rope is looped through the hooks, the tabletop is securely fixed thanks to the knots. And if we want to fold the table away so it doesn't swing around while floating, we secure it with a latch. The chairs will be made in a similar style. We build 2 smaller panels. We also attach 2 hinges to each one and then secure them to the wall. To keep the chairs locked in place, we also attach a small board that acts as a support brace. We also added 2 latches. There's only one thing left, coating everything with yacht varnish. It's perfect for protecting furniture and gives it a beautiful shine. Once the varnish dried, the kitchen area was finished. It turned out to be the perfect size, and most importantly, all the furniture can be folded away when needed. Since we built this house mainly for fishing, we need a place to store fishing rods, and I have a lot of them. Right now, we're making a rod holder. We take 2 boards and mark them out, so the layout looks something like this. Then we cut along the lines using a jigsaw. This is the shape we end up with, but we still need to make another identical one. The pieces are cut out, now they need to be processed. We take this tool. It removes a large amount of excess wood and rounds off the edges really well. Then we smooth out deep scratches and splinters using a sanding sponge. We're also going to coat the rod holder with yacht varnish so it matches the style of the house. We decided to mount it on the back wall. We place the rods into the holder, and now they'll always stay organized and within reach. And for other things, we'll make shelves using fabric mesh. We staple the mesh to the wall, securing it on every side except the top so it forms a pocket. We make the second shelf the exact same way. Now we can store fishing gear and groceries for dinner inside these wool pockets. Since I want to travel in this house, we also need lighting. I decided not to mess around with simple flashlights and instead install real electricity. We connect a plug to one end of the wire. A little farther down, we make a cut in the cable to install a switch. At another cut point, we connect an LED light fixture. We bring all the wiring inside the house and feed the end of the cable through a hole in the wall. Then we connect an outlet here. Now all the wires need to be neatly organized. We staple them to the frame. We screw in the light fixture and hide the remaining wiring. we made the outside outlet specifically for connecting this string light, which we attached to the wall, and we're going to power all of this using a car battery. We plug the cord into the inverter outlet and press the switch. The light turns on and the string lights glow too. Now nighttime in our floating house doesn't feel scary anymore. Now the inside has everything needed to live here comfortably, and now the house is finally ready to be launched onto the water. But the furnishing process still isn't finished. We'll continue working on it right here. For cooking, we're going to install a grill on the terrace because any food tastes better when cooked on a grill. We screw a board onto this section of the terrace. It'll be used to mount a gasoline boat engine. We attach the engine to the deck and if there's an engine on a vessel, there also needs to be an anchor. Nearby, we screw in a hook and tie this anchor to it. It becomes the final touch in furnishing the floating house. We start the engine and head out onto the water. At first, I had doubts about its power, but this engine is more than enough to move across the water at a decent speed. Floating on a vessel like this feels very unusual. We reached a calm area near the reeds and shut the engine off. We drop the anchor. This is where we'll stay. Today we'll be fishing with a float rod. As bait, we're using fishing dough. We roll a small ball out of it and put it onto the hook. We cast close to the reeds and wait for a bite. Soon the float started sinking. I pulled and the first fish was on the hook. We place it into the keep net and continue fishing. The second bite happened almost immediately after casting. Another fish of the same kind bit, and we keep that one too. For a while there were no bites, but suddenly the float got pulled sideways. I felt strong resistance. There was a huge fish on the line, but during the fight it came off the hook. That was disappointing, of course. I decided to release the smaller fish and let them grow bigger. As evening came, I turned on the lights and the house became incredibly cozy. For dinner, I brought Dorado fish with me, and now I'm going to cook it on the grill. We make several long cuts on both sides of the fish so the seasoning absorbs better. For seasoning, we only use salt and black pepper. We drizzle the fish with oil and thoroughly rub in the salt and pepper mixture. We take one lemon and slice several pieces. We place them inside the fish along with a couple of sprigs of herbs. Let the fish marinate while I prepare the grill. We pour charcoal into the grill, cover it with lighter fluid, light the fire and wait for the coals to heat up properly. Now we can place the fish onto the grill and start cooking it. We also place mushrooms and vegetables nearby. We cover the grill with the lid and cook the fish and vegetables on one side for about 5 minutes. Then flip everything over and cook for the same amount of time until fully done. We remove the fish from the heat and eat it while it's still hot. Dorado is a very delicious fish. The meat is juicy and tender, and the smoky aroma makes it even more appetizing. The vegetables also turned out really tasty. I ate the entire fish in just a few minutes, and after a delicious dinner, it was time to go to sleep. The sound of the water and the gentle rocking of the house literally lulled me to sleep, and the night passed by unnoticed. A house on the water has been my dream for a long time, and now it has finally come true. Now I have the opportunity to spend nights directly on the water and feel completely at home. And thanks to the motor, the house can reach almost any point on the lake. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new interesting videos, and also make sure to leave a like on the video and write a comment about what I should build next.